Thanks to our friend who supported the channel financially in the previous video. And before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and support the channel financially. Then the doppelganger stared at Ryu and asked, You fed me on purpose, didn't you? Why did you do it? Did you think I'd spare you if I felt good? Ryu sneered, gathering electricity at his fingertip. And he said, You seem mistaken. You're the one who should be begging for your life. The doppelganger said, You're still keeping that act, huh? But then the released electricity struck the doppelganger. The doppelganger, flung several meters back by the terrible pain, rolled on the ground like a piece of tissue. Ryu said, Did you think I didn't know? Magic damage is a bane to spiritual monsters like you. Or did you underestimate me, thinking I had no magic? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're going to die soon. Then he said to himself, Judging by its state, it looks like it's about to die. In fact, Ryu deliberately avoided hitting directly to avoid killing it, yet it was in this condition. Ryu added, I thought the damage would be lower without Minjuri's buff, but surprisingly, it's not. Anyway, I couldn't let it die by my hand. It had to be Ju Seong-tak. Then Ryu said, Ju Seong-tak, go. At Ryu's command, Ju Seong-tak used corpse explosion. Though it required corpses, there was no problem, as there were 10 corpses around where the doppelganger was thrown. The sudden explosion startled Heavenly Demon and Sang Cheol. And Sang Cheol inquired, What was that? Heavenly Demon replied, Sounds like something exploded, but shouldn't we see flames by now? The force of the explosion was enough to set the entire forest on fire, but it's just dark, nothing visible. It was indeed a strange forest. They couldn't track or explore properly and felt like they were walking in circles. Then Heavenly Demon sighed and said, We have no choice but to keep walking. Stay close so you don't get lost. And Sang Cheol said, Yes, boss. On the other hand, the effect of corpse explosion was overwhelming. The doppelganger was completely obliterated by the simultaneous explosion of 10 corpses. Normally, a reward message would pop up, but unfortunately, Ryu didn't deliver the final blow. Ju Seong-tak, who delivered the final hit, received the reward, leaving Ryu with nothing. Ryu only got the 12,000 points from the sub-quests for revealing the doppelganger and feeding it. Then Ryu said to himself, Ju Seong-tak must have received 20,000 points for killing the doppelganger. Though his subordinate now had more points than him, it didn't matter. What matters now is not the points, but the dropped item. Moreover, Ryu knew more ways to earn points and was confident he'd come out on top. And Ju Seong-tak's lead was temporary. Ryu said to himself, with 23 hours left, there's plenty of time. And there is always a twist at the end. Ju Seong-tak was staring into the air, clearly distracted. It looked like he was checking his messages. Reading his thoughts briefly, Ryu confirmed that the item he wanted had dropped, and he said to himself, Good, the ring dropped as expected. Even though Ju Seong-tak had taken the boss's experience and points, it was fine. As his subordinate, Ju Seong-tak's growth was synonymous with his own. It's like raising a secondary character. And given that he needed to bring as many allies as possible into the 20th round, growing together wasn't a bad thing. Then Ryu said to himself, I've dealt with the pursuing Chinese players. Now let's see what's next. Using clairvoyance, Ryu Min turned his attention to Makyong Rock's group. They appeared flustered by the explosion. Ryu said, The sound of the corpse explosion reached them, but I should check the items first before meeting them. While he planned to lose them in the labyrinth, he couldn't let them wander too long or they might waste a few hours. Then Ryu said, They'll likely attempt to kill other players to accumulate points, given the time wasted in the labyrinth. Makyong Rock, in the 11th round, was always like that, so he needed to be stopped. And only Ryu, with knowledge of the future, could prevent it. Ryu added, No need to kill them. I just need to immobilize them for a while. With a devilish smile, Ju Seong-tak approached, and he said, Master, here are the items obtained from the boss. Without being prompted, Ju Seong-tak willingly handed over the items. Doppelganger's ring. Category, ring. Grade, legendary. Effect, change nickname, usable only in the other world. Durability, 6,000. Usage restriction, expert grade or higher. Description, an item allowing the user to change their nickname at will in the other world. Removing the ring reverts to the original nickname. Ryu smiled and said, This is exactly what I wanted. With this, I no longer had to worry about being tracked by others. Not only can I act as someone other than Black Scythe, but I can also change my nickname freely. It was essentially granting him the power to disguise himself perfectly. Ryu added, not just my face, but even my nickname can be altered now. A complete disguise was now possible. And I also got a god-tier material. Ryu grinned with satisfaction at the additional material he obtained. He was glad he kept Ju Seong-tak alive, and thanks to Ju Seong-tak's Rune of Drop, he obtained the desired item. But his satisfaction was short-lived, and Ryu's expression changed to one of surprise as Ju Seong-tak retrieved another item from his inventory. Ryu inquired, "What's that?" Ju Seong-tak replied, "This is another item from the doppelganger." Ryu took the item, his eyes widening in astonishment, and he asked himself, was there another item besides the ring and the god-tier material? Ryu quickly checked the details of the new item. Memory Erasure Potion. Category, Consumable. Grade, Legendary. Effect, reads and erases desired parts of the target's memory. Usage restriction, Master level and above. Description, allows the user to read and erase desired parts of the target's memory. It can even turn someone into an idiot if desired. Ryu's astonishment was not unwarranted. As the Memory Erasure Potion is an item with an extremely low drop rate, Ryu said to himself, it only appeared once when I used Ju Seong-tak to capture the doppelganger. Ryu's lips curled up in satisfaction as he secured the potion, and he said to himself, there will be a time when I'll need this. Previously, Ryu had used it to erase Min Juri's memory when she was shocked by his true identity. Then he said, I wonder what I'll use it for this time. He would need to wait and see where it would be needed. Ju Seong-tak asked, Master, now that your goal is accomplished, will you be leaving the labyrinth? Ryu replied, No, there's still something left to do. Ju Seong-tak inquired, Something to do? What? Ryu said, It's not your concern. It's something I must handle. Ryu avoided answering precisely what it was and gestured with a nod for Ju Seong-tak to follow and said, Let's go. You just need to watch from a distance. As Makyong Rock walked through the labyrinth, he asked An Sang-cheol, Still no trace of Black Scythe? And Sang-cheol replied, No, tracking still doesn't work, and the presence detecting skill doesn't yield anything either. It seems this forest blocks external signals, he said. That seems to be the case. Then Makyong Rock spoke with a bitter smile and said, I'm sorry, Manager An. It was my fault for insisting on following Black Scythe. And Sang-cheol said, No, it's rather my fault. I shouldn't have insisted on getting the buff from Min Juri, Makyong Rock said. We should have tracked Min Juri instead. If we had, we wouldn't be in this situation, he said. No, your decision was not wrong, sir. We were just unlucky. Makyong Rock wondered if it was really just luck that led them into this labyrinthine forest. And he asked himself, could the prophet have known this would happen when I followed Black Scythe? He couldn't know the truth. But even if the prophet knew, he couldn't blame him, as the prophet had provided invaluable assistance so far, and it would be unwise to cut ties over withheld information. He added, the prophet holds all the power. We who listen to the prophecies are at his mercy, and there was no way to uncover the truth anyway. And the prophet could simply claim they didn't see the prophecy. Ultimately, it was clear that his own choices led to this outcome. Then he sighed and said, I wonder what happened to Christine. And Sang-cheol inquired, Are you worried? Makyong Rock replied, Of course, she's my fiancée. While it was a business relationship, his concern was genuine. And he added, Let's find a way out of this damn forest first. There must be a way. And Sang-cheol said, We keep coming across the same path, though, Makyong Rock said. But we can't just stay here. We heard an explosion earlier, too. And hearing an explosion in the otherwise quiet forest meant someone else was there. So we have time. So let's keep going without giving up. And Sang-cheol inquired, But what if we don't have much time left when we get out? Makyong Rock said, It can't take that long. Can it? As long as we don't lose hope, we'll find a way. It was a hopeful tale, but lacked concrete evidence, and Makyong Rock couldn't guarantee how long it would take to escape the forest, and he said, it could take up to 24 hours, but let's keep going. We have nothing else to do anyway, and if we have some time left after getting out, find foreign players, kill them indiscriminately, regardless of nationality. Killing foreign players would grant kill points and reduce their points. So, there was no reason not to kill, he added. Other countries are likely thinking the same. There might be a war of killing and being killed for points somewhere. And Sang-cheol nodded in agreement. He had grown numb to killing by the fourth round and had aided Makyong Rock's hobbies even before becoming a player, and killing others was no obstacle for either of them. As they walked down a single path, promising a massacre, they suddenly stopped. In the distance, someone was blocking the path. Makyong Rock inquired, "There's a person." Seeing someone was a rare occurrence, and their faces brightened. Seeing a person was as welcome as finding a light in the endless ocean. And Sang Cheol smiled, approached, and said, "Hello there. It's good to meet someone here." But his smile disappeared as he got close enough to see the person's face. With a serious expression, Sang Cheol grabbed Makyong Rock's shoulder and said, "Sir, wait," Makyong Rock inquired. "Huh? What is it?" Looking, Sang Cheol's face was extremely serious. His eyes even showed a hint of anger, and he said, "That guy, it's him."